the Limits with Brian Shapiro. Brian will talk sports, politics, entertainment, and anything that matters to you. Feel free to call Brian at 702-221-7283.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
Now pushing the limits, here's Brian Shapiro.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Good to be back live after a long 4th of July weekend. A couple days off. I feel refreshed. I feel ready to go. And thank you so much for joining us. You could be listening live on the FMAM dial, the Occupy Democrats Network, the Washington Press Network. We're on TikTok. We're on Twitch. We're on X. We're on YouTube. We're everywhere, and we appreciate you being a part of our show. Also, check out my new website, by the way, which is pushingthelimits.live. That website is pushingthelimits.live, where you can sign up for the newsletter. We got some merchandise up there, and you can support what we do here. We are independently owned. Coming up here in just a few minutes, we're going to have former presidential candidate, former Congressman Joe Walsh joining us. I would just want to start off the show because, you know, there are some Democrats that are angry with me. There are some Joe Biden supporters that are angry with me. As I've said before, and I say again, and I will continue to say until November, I would vote for a vegetable over Donald Trump for obvious reasons that I've pointed out on this show over and over again. But I am concerned. I'm worried. And the reason why I'm worried is because every single poll out there is showing Joe Biden is trailing Donald Trump. I'm worried. And if you don't believe in polls, fine. We all know the debate didn't help him. We're going to be playing some clips from the interview, the first interview he did since the debate with George Stephanopoulos. I didn't think it was very convincing. I understand that Joe Biden called in to the Scarborough show this morning, and he did a decent job. We'll break that down. But is he convincing middle America? So I had a lunch yesterday with somebody who is a very staunch Robert F. Kennedy Jr. supporter. And he threw out the idea that if, in fact, Joe Biden's going to step aside, by the way, every day that goes by, I'm thinking that might not happen. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying if it happened and Kamala Harris would be running for president, how can she defeat Donald Trump? And he brought up Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s name as her VP. And even though I'm not a huge Robert F. Kennedy Jr. fan, I said, that is interesting. I'm thinking out loud here. I'm trying to come up with ideas. If you think Joe Biden's going to stay the course, which he might, and you think that's the best pathway to defeat Donald Trump, okay, fine. No problem. But I'm not sure, and I'm worried. That's all I'm saying. I'm always going to be honest on the air. I'm always going to be honest with you, whether it be on this show or social media. I'm worried. Why is Kamala Harris not out there more? Why is she not doing primetime interviews? Why is Joe Biden not out there more? I'm glad he did a few interviews over the weekend. Why are they not out there more? Why is Joe Biden not holding more press conferences? Why is it when he holds a press conference, he doesn't take questions? These are questions that need to be answered. And I'm worried. I hope I'm wrong. I don't want to see Donald Trump back into the White House. You won't find somebody more anti-Trump than me. But I'm worried. And I don't think the Joe Biden campaign is doing a good job. That is my personal opinion. I want Donald Trump defeated. I'm worried. What better person to talk about this than my friend, former presidential candidate and former Congressman Joe Walsh, who joins us right now on the line. Joe, always a pleasure, my friend. How are you?
You should be worried, Brian. Again, if we believe rightly that there's a lot on the line in November, nothing else matters but Donald Trump losing, period.
Agree. And, Joe, I have a lot of Democrats that are angry at me because I've been posting on social media that I'm worried. I've been posting on social media that I'm not sure Joe Biden is the best pathway right now to defeat Donald Trump. He's trailing in every poll. And if it is Kamala Harris, then, you look at the polls, she's not doing great either polling across the country. I'm worried. And I don't think they're going to put a Gavin Newsom or a Hillary Clinton ahead of Kamala Harris. So I don't know what the best pathway forward is. What's your opinion on that?
Well, again, if we start at the beginning, that all we want to do is defeat Trump, then what gives us the best chance of doing that? Before the debate, we would have said Joe Biden. Joe Biden had one thing to prove. I'm not too old. I can do this. He did not prove that, and everything he's done since hasn't proven that. Now, you and I, Brian, would vote for Joe Biden if he were 151 years old.
Correct.
So everybody listening to us and every Democrat who gets pissed at you and pissed at me needs to understand that. I don't think this public debate about the fitness of Joe Biden is a bad thing. I think it's a healthy thing. I think we ought to have it out. At the end of the day, Biden has to decide if he's going to step aside. My hope is that whatever decision he makes, Bri, will do what Trump is incapable of doing, and Biden will put the country first.
Joe, you worked with a lot of these people that are in D.C. today. What do you know? You have a lot of contacts, far more than most people in the media do. What are you hearing? What do you think is going to happen? And if something is going to happen, will it be sooner than later?
Privately, what I'm hearing is that privately, most Democrats and most of my former Democratic colleagues privately wish Joe Biden would step aside. Most won't say that. By the way, how familiar does that sound? Most of my former Republican colleagues believe Donald Trump is unfit,
right?
But they won't say that either. So that's where most Democrats are privately. It's a shame that they won't come out and say it. My hunch is that there's not a lot of time here. Like, you've got, I think, 2 weeks at the outset. You've got a week to two here where a decision has to be made. And either the bubble around Biden is pierced and people can convince him that Trump has to lose and he can't do it, or they can't, and Joe Biden says, damn it, I'm going to do this, and then we all get behind him. But there's not a lot of time here.
I agree. So, Joe, here's my theory. Tell me whether you agree or not with this. They're not going to put Gavin Newsom or Hillary Clinton ahead of Kamala Harris because, number one, you put a white person, I hate to play the race card here, but if you put a white person ahead of Kamala Harris, that's going to look really bad to the Democrat Party. That's the main reason why I think they're not going to do it. But Kamala Harris is not doing well polling either. So a friend of mine put out a theory. Tell me what you think about this. Kamala Harris and a guy like a Robert F. Kennedy Jr. running as her VP, where you get that 10% that you might need to get over the top. What do you think about that, and do you think that's just too far-fetched?
No effing way, no effing way, no effing way. Robert, RFK Jr. is a freaking dangerous, he's a bad guy. So they'll never, ever, ever do that. But to your original point, look, identity politics is a big deal in the Democratic Party. So I do not believe they will step around Kamala Harris. Now, what they might do is they might have like a mini open primary at the convention or whatever and make Kamala earn it, because I think she probably would earn it. Let's remember, this isn't the Biden reelection campaign. This is the Biden-Harris reelection campaign. So if Biden steps down, Brian, to me, Biden, you picked Kamala Harris to be your VP. So you are fully, you embrace her. She's a heartbeat away from the presidency now. It seems like Joe Biden would almost have to embrace her. And then I think the rest of the party would get behind her.
Here's something, Joe, that I don't understand. The other day where, after the Supreme Court, that ridiculous ruling, Joe Biden's not answering any questions. He's only out there for 4 minutes. I know you criticized the campaign. I criticized the campaign. Why would you not let him answer questions? That was a wiffle ball. And then I see this George Stephanopoulos interview. I'm going to play some cuts from that. I don't think he's convincing anybody. Listen, I like Joe Biden. He's a good man. He was a good president. But I'm sorry, he's just not convincing. He doesn't have to convince me and you, but he's not really convincing those in middle America that he's up for another 4 years. That's my personal opinion. We're still going to vote for him. What if you were Joe Biden's campaign manager right now? What's the first thing you would do?
I think they already blew it, Brian. I mean, after that debate, I remember tweeting after the debate that night, damn it, get him out there, have Biden tomorrow hold a 2-hour press conference, get him at a town hall taking questions from everyday people for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
The day after the debate,
right.
And then the next day, and then the next day. They went 8 to 9 days without doing anything. And then they put him in front of George Stephanopoulos for 22 minutes.
Yeah.
Either they know he's not capable, but again, Brian, like if I'm Joe Biden after that debate, I'm saying, damn it, get the gloves off of me. I want a 2-hour press conference tomorrow.
Right.
Why isn't Biden demanding that?
Great
He's
question.
still the boss.
Great question, and I ask the exact same question. If you had, I might have the opportunity to speak to our vice president tomorrow. She's going to be in Vegas. If you had that opportunity, what's the first question you would ask her?
I don't know, Brian. I really don't. Look, she's in a tough spot because she has to say, I'm with him until she's not. Yeah. She's got to be the loyal VP. So you shouldn't get a straight answer out of her right now. And by the way, Biden is going to say, I'm in until he's not.
Yeah.
If Biden said anything but that, he'd already be a dead man.
Yeah.
But I think this will get settled sooner than people think.
I hope so. Joe, last question for you. And, I love seeing you on CNN. So CNN is getting hammered. And by the way, I don't agree with it. I think CNN is showing their honesty, their intellectual honesty by calling out what they see, what we're all seeing. I give them credit for that. But they're getting hammered by the far left. Oh, all you guys are talking about is Joe Biden's health and his cognitive decline. Why aren't you focusing on Trump? You're seeing all this happening. What do you make of that? Because I think it actually gives CNN more credibility doing what they're doing.
This is the biggest political story of the last 2 years.
Right.
The Democratic candidate for president, the sitting president, may be too old and may not be the nominee. Hello, I think Donald Trump is an un-American lawless psychopath, but that's not the story right now. Mm-hmm. Look, my former political party, I've said it a bunch with you, is a cult. They don't publicly question their leader, and Fox News never goes after their leader. Mm-hmm. Doggone it, at least the Democratic Party isn't a cult,
right.
And at least CNN isn't a mouthpiece for a political party. It's a good thing.
Amen. I agree. Joe, I love you, buddy. Thanks so much for taking the time, my friend. Look forward to seeing you on the tube tonight, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks,
okay,
Brian.
My friend? Thank you.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Appreciate it. That's Joe Walsh, former presidential candidate, former congressman out of Chicago. Does a great job on CNN. I'm in full agreement with him. I'm seeing things with my own eyes. I don't like what the Joe Biden campaign is doing. Put him out there for 2 hours. Let him answer questions. Unleash him. What are you afraid of? Why is our vice president not doing more TV interviews? I'm getting angry. And I'm getting angry because I don't want to see Donald Trump back in the White House. And they're making mistakes. They're making some of the same mistakes that the Hillary Clinton campaign made. They're not doing the interviews they should be doing. But for maybe different reasons, I don't know. If Democrats want to be angry at me, go ahead and be angry. I have the same goal you have. I don't want to see Donald Trump back in the White House. He's a threat to our democracy. He's a horrific human being. He's a wannabe dictator. Go down the frickin' list. I'm with you. But we can't be complicit. I'm seeing this stuff with my own eyes. All right, so he called into Joe Scarborough. We'll get to that later. But I'm frustrated. And I'm worried. And I'm a different person now when it comes to my feelings on the Joe Biden campaign than I was a month ago. And it's not just because of one bad debate. I know he's been a good president for the last 3.5 years. It's not about the last 3.5 years. It's about the next 4 years. Why is it so hard for you guys to understand that? When people go to the voting booth, a small percentage of them are thinking about what has he done the last 3.5 years. A large percentage of them are thinking, what is he going to do for me for the next 4 years? Can Joe Biden be the president in 3 years from now? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I can only go by what I see. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for Joe Biden. I would vote for a vegetable over Donald Trump. I'm not a doctor. But can we see with our own eyes that he's not the same man he was even a year ago? Why can't you all see that? I want the best pathway forward to defeat Donald Trump. This race should not be close. Best case scenario for Joe Biden, it's a close race. Is that acceptable? Is that acceptable to you Democrats out there? Is it acceptable to any of you people out there that are supporting Joe Biden that this race at best is close? You are dealing with a 34-count felon and a liable sexual abuser, a man who's openly said he wants to be a dictator on day one. He's attacked our brave men and women in uniform. He's attacked minorities. This should not be a close race. He's a convicted felon. Do I need to spell it out for you? It shouldn't be close. And in every poll across the country, Trump is leading in the polls. If you don't believe in the polls, fine. But I'm worried. I tend to believe some of the polls when every single poll is showing Trump with a larger lead than he had a month ago. I tend to believe that somewhat. And I'm not blind. I can see what's going on here. We can't let Donald Trump get back into the White House. And when people have discussions about Joe Biden's health, I agree with Joe Walsh. It's a healthy discussion. I'm voting for Joe Biden no matter what. I'm voting for the Democrat nominee no matter what. And I know that Joe Biden put out this letter earlier today, a lengthy letter to congressional Democrats saying he's not dropping out of the race. He said, now that you have returned from the July 4th recess, I want you to know, despite all the speculation in the press and elsewhere, I am firmly committed to staying in the race, to running this race to the end, and to beating Donald Trump. He said the question is how to move forward. It's been well aired for over a week now, and it's time for it to end. We have one job, and that's to beat Donald Trump. We have 42 days to the Democratic convention and 119 days to the general election. Any weakening of resolve or lack of clarity about the task ahead only helps Trump and hurts us. It's time to come together and move forward as a unified party and defeat Donald Trump. Okay, that's nicely said. I agree. But your campaign needs to do a better job of putting you out there. You need to do a better job. If you're competent, which I hope you are, you need to do a better job with answering questions with conviction. I don't believe he's done that since the debate. Well, one person that does make the case that I do want to play for you, someone who I do have a lot of respect for, someone who, some believe could be the president one day, could be the vice president one day, is Gretchen Whitmer. So Gretchen Whitmer did speak over the weekend. She is a staunch Joe Biden supporter, of course, and she did make some very, very good points. I'm going to play you both sides. What I mean by that is Democrats on both sides, some who believe Joe Biden should stay the course, others believe that perhaps he should step aside. I'm going to play you both, and I want you to decide, and I'm going to comment on it. But I am going to start with Gretchen Whitmer, who did make some very valid points over the weekend. Here's what she had to say.
With the election just 5 months away, we all know that the stakes are high. Let's start at the top of the ballot. We have to reelect our president, Joe Biden, and our vice president, Kamala Harris. In 4 years, they brought America back from a deadly pandemic and out of a deep recession. Through extraordinary political division, they've delivered results. The cost of insulin is capped at $35 a month, and Medicare can finally negotiate lower prescription drug prices. Joe Biden got it done.
Okay, listen, I don't disagree with her. We can go over this time and time again. A lot of accomplishments within the Biden administration. I'm not refuting that. All I'm simply saying is a lot of voters want to know the plan for the future. While it's important to note accomplishments in the past, looking towards the future. Gretchen Whitmer continues.
The bipartisan infrastructure law is fixing the damn roads, repairing crumbling bridges, and replacing lead pipes. A lot of people talk about good game about infrastructure, but Joe Biden got it done. And there is a manufacturing boom across America. We're seeing it in Michigan with companies building new factories and bringing back middle-class jobs, back to places that too often had been left behind. Joe Biden got it done.
Okay, again, I don't necessarily disagree with what Gretchen Whitmer is saying. I don't disagree. If I'm working in Biden's administration, in fact, if I'm working in his campaign, the White House did a press conference, and they're doing one, I think, right now as we speak. Put Joe Biden in front of the microphone. Let him answer questions. I think that's the best thing that they can do. And I go back again. I'm voting for Joe Biden no matter what. I'm going to do anything and everything it takes to defeat Donald Trump. All I'm simply saying is that there are things that the campaign can do to convince more voters, and I'm not sure that they're doing that. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make sure Donald Trump never sets his feet, small feet, back into the White House. But did many of you, I would imagine some of you, saw the George Stephanopoulos interview on Friday night? I saw that interview, just like all of you. I didn't think Joe Biden was great in that interview. We'll go over it now. Thought he was okay. Thought he did a better job calling into Morning Joe today. But this was the first public comments in an interview that Joe Biden did since the debate. Now, why did he wait a week? That's another valid question that I would ask the campaign. But here is George Stephanopoulos asking him about the quote-unquote bad night he had.
You and your team have said you had a bad night, but your friend Nancy Pelosi actually framed the question that I think is on the minds of millions of Americans. Was this a bad episode or the sign of a more serious condition?
It was a bad episode. No indication of any serious condition. I was exhausted. I didn't listen to my instincts in terms of preparing, and I had a bad night.
You know, you say you were exhausted, and I know you've said that before as well, but you came, and you did have a tough month, but you came home from Europe about 11 or 12 days before the debate, spent 6 days in Camp David. Why wasn't that enough rest time, enough recovery time?
Because I was sick. I was feeling terrible. Matter of fact, the docs with me, I asked if they did a COVID test because they're trying to figure out what's wrong. They did a test to see whether or not I had some infection, a virus. I didn't. They just had a really bad cold.
Okay, so I've heard that, and that would be very understandable because it did appear that Joe Biden was not feeling well. Yet a couple days later, why didn't he answer questions at a press conference? I understand we all are entitled to a bad night. People have bad nights in debates. It happens all the time. Even though you could make the argument this was probably the most important debate we've had in decades. But with that being said, why were you tired? I understand that you weren't feeling well. You had a cold. But here's the point again where George Stephanopoulos, hits home that comment again, asking him, well, wait a second, why were you tired?
It seemed like you were having trouble from the first question in, even before he spoke.
Well, I just had a bad night. You've had some bad interviews once in a while. I can't remember any, but I'm sure you did.
I've had plenty. I guess the question, the problem is here for a lot of Americans watching is you've said, going back to 2020, watch me. Yep. To people who are concerned about your age. And, 50 million Americans watched that debate. It seemed to confirm fears they already had.
Well, look, after that debate, I did 10 major events in a row, including until 2 o'clock in the morning after that debate. I did events in North Carolina. I did events in Georgia. Did events like this today. Large crowds, overwhelming response, no slipping. And so I just had a bad night. I don't know why.
I'm telling you, that's part of being the president of the United States. You're going to be traveling everywhere. You're going to have multiple events in a day. That's part of being the president of the United States. And if your body can't handle it, Mr. President, with all due respect, then you need to step aside. I don't know if that's the case or not. I'm not a doctor, right? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I can only go by what I see with my own eyes, and this is a different Joe Biden than what we saw a year ago. He doesn't have the same energy he has. I think he gets confused a little easier. If you guys think that Joe Biden is still the best pathway to winning, then fine, I'm on board. I'm on your side here. You won't find anybody more anti-Donald Trump than me, Brian Shapiro. I'm just worried. And this was a question that George Stephanopoulos asked Joe Biden, where I believe Joe Biden pivoted. Have a listen to this.
But what has all that work over the last 3.5 years cost you physically, mentally, emotionally?
Well, I just think it cost me a really bad night, a bad run. But, George, I'm optimistic about this country. I don't think we're a country of losers, that he points out. I don't think America's in tough shape. I think America's on the cusp of breaking through in so many incredible opportunities.
Okay, that's all nice said and done, but that wasn't the question. And I find it very interesting that there are people on social media that are saying, Brian's a MAGA. You people are some of the dumbest people in the world if you think that I'm a Donald Trump supporter, if you've been listening to the show. How stupid are you to say that I'm your typical MAGA? Are you dopes out there? What type of stupid idiots are you? Nobody is more anti-Trump than I am. I've said it a dozen times on this show in the last 30 minutes. But because for the last 30 minutes, I would vote for a vegetable over Donald Trump. How dumb are you to say that I'm a MAGA? Could you be any more stupid? Now, I'm sorry if some of you might disagree with me in my take on maybe they should put somebody else in there, because I want the easiest pathway to defeat Donald Trump. That's what I'm looking for. But for you morons, I'm not going to listen to this. By the way, it's not a podcast. It's a radio show. I'm not going to listen to this show anymore because he sounds like a MAGA. You're idiots then. You're stupid. What can I say? I don't want stupid people listening to this show, although some MAGAs do listen to this show. But why? Because I'm pointing out that Joe Biden maybe is not the same guy that he was a year ago, that maybe the campaign's making some mistakes. You think I'm a MAGA? How stupid are you? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Nobody wants the left to win this presidential election more than me. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make sure Donald Trump doesn't get back in the White House. Doesn't mean I'm not going to be honest on this show. And I'm sorry, I say this all the time, right-wing echo chamber radio. I hate it because they don't change their views ever. They don't interview people they disagree with, and it's always what the right-wing MAGAs want to hear. Well, guess what? I'm not that person on the left. If you want somebody on the left that's going to speak all the talking points and just chalk it up, no big deal, Joe Biden just had a bad debate, then go listen to another show, because that's not who I am. I call it as I see it. And Joe Biden is struggling. He's not the same guy he once was. Now, I'm still going to vote for him, as I've now said 15 times to some of you idiots out there that don't listen. I'm still going to vote for Joe Biden if he's the guy versus Donald Trump. I won't even think about it. But I am concerned, and I am not a left-wing mouthpiece, and I never have been. I'm not even a Democrat. I'm an independent thinker. It's why I'm a registered independent. With that said, I'll vote for anybody over Donald Trump. I've said it time and time again. But I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I'm not going to start now. I'm not going to sit here and say, Joe Biden's doing great. That was a great debate last week. Boy, he's been killing it in these interviews. He's winning over America. Trump has no chance. No, there's a reason why every poll is showing that Donald Trump is leading. It's because that debate was a disaster, and it's because, you heard it from Joe Walsh, the last week or two, he has not gained much ground at all. I'm concerned, and it doesn't mean I'm a MAGA. It's a stupid comment. So here's the point in the interview where Joe Biden tells us what the first thing his doctor did after the debate. Have a listen to this.
Do you dispute that there have been more lapses, especially in the last several months?
Can I run the 110 flat? No. But I'm still in good shape.
Are you more frail?
No.
I know you
Come
spoke.
keep my schedule.
I know you spoke with your doctor after the debate. What did he say?
He said, he just looked at me and said, you're exhausted.
That might be true. Somebody on social media says, Brian, have you forgotten so quickly about how you said he had a great State of the Union? He did have a great State of the Union. But it's what have you done for me lately? Where was that Joe Biden at the State of the Union in the debate? Where is that Joe Biden today? I'm not going to lie to all of you. I don't lie ever on this show. That was scripted. He did a good job. State of the Union, he was energetic. He did a great job. Wasn't the case in the debate. And if the argument is just a bad night, then get Joe Biden out there. Why is he not answering? And I'm not talking about a one-on-one 20-minute interview. I'm talking about a press conference where a bunch of different people are able to ask questions, including Fox News. That's what I want to see. Why is that so hard for some of you to understand? The interview continues.
But are you being honest with yourself as well about your ability to defeat Donald Trump right now?
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
You say that, and let me challenge you.
Sure.
Because you were close, but behind going into the debate. You're further behind now by any measure. It's been a two-man race for several months. Inflation has come down. In those last few months, he's become a convicted felon, yet you're still falling further behind.
You guys keep saying that. George, you know polling better than anybody. Do you think polling data is accurate as it used to be?
I don't think so, but I think when you look at all of the polling data right now, it shows that he's certainly ahead in the popular vote, probably even more ahead in the battleground states. And one of the other key factors there is it shows that in many of the battleground states, the Democrats who are running for Senate and the House are doing better than you are.
Well, that's not unusual in some states. I carried an awful lot of Democrats last time I ran.
Okay, maybe, perhaps. I want conviction. I want aggressiveness. I want Joe Biden continuing to call out Donald Trump for the felon that he is, with conviction. The liable sexual abuser that he is, with conviction. The threat to our democracy that Donald Trump is, with conviction. I want him to talk more about abortion. I want him to do it with conviction. That's what we need right now. This should not be a close race. I understand he's in his early 80s. I get that. I'm not discounting that this is just a normal man in his early 80s that's getting old. I understand that. But if you can't put him in front of the cameras to answer questions, not by a one-on-one interview, I'm talking about a media scrum for 30 minutes, then what are we doing? What are we doing? Now, I believe that Joe Biden is probably going to remain in the race. If you asked me right now what I think the Democrats are going to do, I think it's going to continue to be Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. Fine, I'm voting for Joe Biden. This isn't about me. This is about middle America. This is about the independents. These are about the moderate Republicans that have said openly that they're not voting for Donald Trump, thank God, but they're not ready to say they're voting for Joe Biden. Has Joe Biden convinced them in the last 2 weeks to vote for him? I'm not talking about you and me. I'm not talking about people like myself who are blatantly anti-Donald Trump. I'm not talking about Democrats out there. I know who you're voting for. We're on the same page. I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about the people that are going to change this election either for Trump or Biden. I'm talking about the registered independents. I'm talking about those that are moderate Republicans. These are the people that I'm talking about that can change the outcome of an election. And many of those people are wary right now. And I'm not sure that Joe Biden has changed their minds. That's why I'm worried. Yes, I'm not going to lie to you. When I see every single poll out there that is showing Donald Trump winning, I'm worried. And we can't get complicit. That's all I'm saying. I don't know why that's so hard for some of you to accept or understand. You're living in a fantasy world if you think Joe Biden's going to win in a landslide. You're living in a fantasy world. I'm not saying Joe Biden's going to lose. I'm saying I'm worried. And we all should be worried that Donald Trump still has the support that he has. And Joe Biden needs to get in front of the cameras more. I'm glad he called into Morning Joe today, okay? Thought he did a decent job there. And I want to play you a cut from that. This is Joe Biden. Unannounced, by the way, until early this morning that he was calling in. Joe Biden on Morning Joe.
They are saying that you should step aside. So what is your plan of attack moving forward? These are pretty big names.
Is to go out and keep doing their big names, but I don't care what those big names think. They were wrong in 2020. They're wrong in 2022 about the red wave. They're wrong in 2024. And come out with me. Watch people react. You make a judgment. You make a judgment. Just that it didn't happen. I was predicting beforehand it would not happen because I've got a pretty good political instinct and eye. And here's the deal. It's not going to happen here this time around. The American public is not going to move away from me as an average voter. And again, I'm here for two reasons, pal. One, to rebuild the economy for hardworking middle-class people, give everybody a shot. Just a straight shot. Everybody gets a fair chance, number one. Number two, remember all this talk about how I don't have the black support? Come on, give me a break. Come with me. Watch. I'm getting so frustrated by the elites. Now, I'm not talking about you guys, but about the elites in the party who they know so much more. But if any of these guys don't think I should run against me.
All right. Well, listen, that's nice to hear. And I agree with Joe Biden there. He is getting the overwhelming majority of the black vote. We know that. I agree with Joe 100%. Okay, so there's Joe showing some conviction. Why can't he do that in front of the cameras? I didn't think the interview he did with George Stephanopoulos was great. He sounded great this morning. He sounded like a man with conviction. That's the Joe Biden that we need if we want to defeat Donald Trump. I'm with him. And this was the moment in the interview where they said, you know, are you going anywhere? I mean, are you going to be stepping down? And here's Joe Biden again with some conviction.
The bottom line here is that we're not going anywhere. I am not going anywhere. I wouldn't be running if I didn't absolutely believe that I am the best candidate to beat Donald Trump in 2024. We had a democratic nominating process where the voters spoke clearly. I won 14 million of those votes, et cetera. So I not only believe that from the beginning, but I wanted to reassert it and demonstrate that it's true. And I'm going to be doing that all through this week and from here on.
Okay. I mean, again, that's nice to hear, but that was 3.5 years ago. These are different times we're living in now. I don't believe Joe is the same guy he was 3.5 years ago. He's still a great guy. And at times he, sounds great. I thought he sounded really good this morning in that Joe Scarborough interview. Thought he did. He showed conviction. We need more of that Joe Biden. Whatever sleep he had, whatever situation put him in the position to answer questions the way he did today, repeat that. Put him in front of the cameras. Let him answer questions. We need a Joe Biden press conference where he can answer questions for 30 minutes from all sorts of different members of the media. We want to see that Joe Biden, and then I'll feel a lot better about things. But I am still worried. And you know who someone else is worried? Adam Schiff. Okay, but Schiff did an interview over the weekend, and he makes a very valid point, the same point that I'm trying to make on this show today. Listen to what Adam Schiff said about the situation that we're in right now when it comes to the elections.
But the performance on the debate stage, I think rightfully raised questions among the American people about whether the president has the vigor to defeat Donald Trump. And this is an existential race. Given Joe Biden's incredible record, given Donald Trump's terrible record, he should be mopping the floor with Donald Trump. Joe Biden is running against a criminal. It should not be even close, and there's only one reason it is close, and that's the president's age. And what I would say, Kristen, what I would advise the president is seek out the opinions of people you trust. He's obviously talked to his family about this, and that's important. But he should seek out people with some distance and objectivity. He should seek out pollsters who are not his own pollsters. He should take a moment to make the best informed judgment. And if the judgment is run, then run hard and beat that SOB.
Okay, so I agree. I think Adam Schiff makes some really good points there. And he asked a very valid question that I'm going to ask you because we're going to take a break and then we're going to take some phone calls on the other side because this is the most interactive show, not just in Vegas, but in my opinion, across the country. Adam Schiff asked the question that I'm going to ask all of you, Republicans and Democrats that call into this show because you're all welcome. Why, at best case scenario for Joe Biden, is this race so close? The man across from you is a 34-count convicted felon and a liable sexual abuser. Why is this race so close? Adam Schiff said it best. Joe Biden should be wiping the floor clean with Donald Trump. Why is Trump leading in all the polls? Best case scenario for Joe Biden, it's a very close race. Why? It shouldn't be close. I asked that question to all of you right now, and we will take some breaks. We'll take a 90-second break. We'll take a break, 90-second break. Your phone call's next at 702-221-7283. We'll be back right after this. It's Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yusufzai 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment and fees. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Helps Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, where every kid gets a shot at the starting line. Just a reminder, our website is www.hockeyforkids.org.
Tired of the same old date night? Craving a deeper connection with your partner? O-Box is your escape into a world of romance and passion. Each month, discover a box filled with personalized surprises, exciting activities, and a love story written just for the two of you. Ignite desire, share laughter, and make memories that last a lifetime. Your O-Box journey culminates into a beautiful love novel. Ready to write the first thrilling chapter? Let the O-Box adventure begin. Visit our website, obox.com. That's OBOXXX.com and get started.
Hello, I'm Ron Quince, and I'm running for Congress as a nonpartisan candidate in District 1. I'm dedicated to serving our entire community. In this challenging time, it's more important than ever to have leaders who focus on unity and progress. I believe in putting people over politics and finding practical solutions that benefit us all. Never stop believing in America, no matter our troubles and turmoil. We can and we will do better. We must be brave. Stop voting for those politicians who care about their career and gaining power but don't improve our lives. I believe in America and I believe in you. You need a candidate who believes in policy over party because you deserve better. In Nevada, every voice matters. I humbly ask for your vote this coming election, November 5th. To learn how we can create a better America, please visit quincefornevada.com. Paid for by Ron Quince for Congress.
Have you ever dreamed of having your own radio show or a podcast, but just didn't think it was possible? Well, dreams can come true. Radio U. Radio U is a 5-day course that'll teach you how to acquire your dream show. We'll teach you how to host, how to write commercial, how to interview, how to market, how to write a contract, and most importantly, how to monetize your dream radio show. You'll learn from some of the best in the business with over 75 years in broadcast experience. You'll learn from people like me. And the best part? Every single student will be live on the radio as part of the class. Plus, one student from each class will get their very own radio show. You'll be live on the air right here in Las Vegas. Radio U. The 5-day course is being offered at $699. For more information, give Radio U a call. 702-763-5024. That's 702-763-5024. Or check them out at RadioYOU101.com.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Monday. Get to some phone calls here in a moment. I want to tell you guys about my good friends. My favorite gaming bar in town, Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. Every Tuesday, you show your TAM card, and you get $50 in free slot play every Tuesday. There's really nothing to it. Just show up. $50. You can't beat it. Great food, great atmosphere. I was there over the weekend. Just wonderful people. A great group of people there. Great staff. Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. Check them out. So I've been giving my criticisms to the Joe Biden campaign every day on this show. I tell you about how much of a threat Donald Trump is to our democracy, what a horrible human being he is, and I back it up with facts. And I do it every day on this show. But I can see with my own eyes that Joe Biden is not the same guy he was even a year ago. I want the best pathway forward to defeat Donald Trump. All I am simply doing is questioning and critiquing what the Biden campaign has been doing or lack thereof. I'm glad that Joe Biden called into Joe Scarborough. Why didn't he do that last week? Why did they wait a week? I'm glad that he did the interview with George Stephanopoulos. By the way, they waited 2 weeks. I'm glad he did the interview with George Stephanopoulos, but did that really convince anybody or sway somebody one way or the other? The Democrats have a decision to make. I do believe that they're going to stick with Joe Biden. If you ask me today, now listen, my opinion could change tomorrow. I think Joe Biden is still going to be their guy. And if that's the case, I'm going to support him 100%. But I want to know what you guys think. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Why don't we start off with Alan? Alan is first up on PTL. Hi, Alan. Where are you calling from?
Brian, my brother, let me talk to you. How you doing, first of all?
Good, good. Where are you calling from, Alan?
I'm calling from Philadelphia area.
All right.
South
He was
Jersey,
just out there. Did you go to the rally?
Who? Joe's rally or
Joe? Joe.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't.
Fair enough.
That other guy had a rally out here, and all the numbers were so blown proportion. No, it was not what everybody was told. He didn't have 80,000 people there.
I know that. Yeah, they're liars. Yeah, we know that.
But we watched debate with a couple megas, or I should say former megas.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was a little depressed about Joe's performance. And, my buddy who's a mega, and I respect the fact that's what he is, he said, you know what? Biden won that debate. So what are you talking about? He looked terrible. He said, no. He says, first of all, Trump lied. Everything that came out of that man was a lie. Everything. And then Trump could not answer a question. He kept going back to the following question. He wouldn't answer the questions. And that psychologically played I imagine something in his mind, my buddy's mind.
Yeah.
He said, no. Biden told the truth.
Okay, but Alan, let me just
Biden's
interject.
effective.
I hear what you're saying. Let me just interject real quickly. I don't necessarily disagree with that assessment. Here's the problem. Most of America saw Joe Biden fumble over his words, get confused, and did not show a lot of conviction, and he looked ill because he was sick. Sadly, that's what most of America saw. What Joe Biden needed to do was he needed to prove to middle America. What I mean by middle America is, not people like you and me. We're going to vote for Joe Biden if he's in a wheelchair, right? I'm talking about
exactly.
I'm talking about the independents and the moderate Republicans. He didn't convince any of those people. And if he's going to win in what I think will probably be a very close race, which it shouldn't be, he needs to convince those people that are on the fence, and he hasn't done that the last couple of weeks. That's why I'm worried.
Well, I'll tell you what I think should happen. I think the Democratic Party, first of all, should get together and pull together now.
Right.
This is crisis time.
Yep.
They shouldn't be down. Look, like you said, Biden is going to be the nominee. Get behind him, Democrats. Get behind him 100%. Push the issue that not only are you voting for Joe, not only are you voting for the people that are going to be working with Joe. Joe puts good people behind him.
I agree.
Donald Trump.
Yep.
All those people that he's worked with, they have them in jail now.
It's the point.
He can't even get a vice president.
Listen, Alan, you're 100% right. That's the point I say. And they say, Brian, how could you say you'd vote for somebody that's a vegetable? Because I'm not saying Joe Biden's a vegetable, by the way. I'm just using that as an example because even if Joe Biden was confined to a wheelchair, he's still going to have a bunch of competent people around him. Who's Donald Trump going to have around him? Steve Bannon? All these idiots around him?
Miller? Yeah.
Right.
That guy's a joke.
Oh, an absolute joke. Think about all the idiots that Trump would have around him now. That's why in a heartbeat I vote for Joe Biden. But again, I go back to what I say earlier, and there are some Democrats that are angry at me for being honest. It's not going to stop me. I'm concerned. And the campaign needs to get Joe Biden out there more. And if he's too tired, then don't book as many events. I don't care what you need to do. We need the Joe Biden we heard this morning on Joe Scarborough. We need the Joe Biden we heard. I agree. We need the Joe Biden we heard at the State of the Union address. That interview he did with George Stephanopoulos was not a good one. He was low energy. He was low energy. He looked tired. This morning, I like the call to Joe Scarborough. But we can't have this inconsistent Joe Biden, okay? I get it. If the excuse is, okay, he had a bad night, he wasn't feeling good, fine. I'm willing to own that with what they are saying. But why can't they put him in front of a stage and a microphone and answer questions for 30 minutes? That's a problem.
Well, again, I really feel, like I said, the Democrat people need to get him out there. They need to back him 100%.
Yep.
Stop knocking the guy.
Yeah.
Stop knocking.
I hope you don't interpret that as what I'm doing, because I'm not trying to knock him.
No, Brian. The only thing you said today that I kind of disagree with you on, it says that nobody hates Donald Trump more than you do. Well, I kind of hate him. I think we're running close on that.
Fair enough. Well, that's a good race to win. But Alan, I'm with you. I'm with you, my friend. Stay strong out there in Philadelphia. I appreciate your call, and I'm glad you understand where I'm coming from, Alan. I'm coming from the right place, at least in my opinion. I'm coming from the place of I just want the best pathway to victory to make sure that Cheeto Jesus never becomes the president ever again. That's the only place I'm coming from. I'm not Joe Biden's a great guy. I think he's a really good person. I think he's been a really good president. I just want the best pathway moving forward. And for Christ's sake, if the case is, Joe Biden just had a bad night, then get him out there more. Make sure he's well rested. I don't know what else to say. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the show. Why don't we go to Karen? Karen is next up on PTL. Hi, Karen. Where are you calling from?
Calling from Maryland.
Hi. Well, thanks, Karen. What's on your mind today?
Oh, your question was, why do you think Trump is still leading in the polls, even though he's a convict and all of that?
Yeah.
I believe that we don't have a cult. The Democrats don't have a cult.
I agree.
And they are just now getting and listening to politics again.
Mm-hmm.
That Trump presidency really, even a lot of my friends, they're not even looking at the news at this time.
Yeah.
They legit just started back
Karen,
looking
I
at
am
the
with
news,
you. Karen, I am with you 150%. And when I went to this awful Klan cultish type Trump rally last month, I made that same point. We are not in a cult. The Joe Biden, the people out there that will be voting for Joe Biden if he is the nominee, we're not in a cult. We don't use the malarkey flags, and you don't see these pickup trucks with malarkey signs and decked out and all this Biden stuff. No, you're right. We are not in a cult. We just want a decent human being to be the president, and that I do believe that is Joe Biden. But with that being said, I'm still concerned because there are people.
And also, you have to understand as well that a lot of the people that are getting polled on regular phone lines. And that's a lot of older people. And because I've been telling my friends and a lot of people that I speak to look at Project 2025.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
That is what has changed a lot of their minds.
Yeah.
After they were going to vote for Trump because they so-called believe they got more money.
Yeah.
Before 2020, which is not true.
Yeah.
They're saying after reading Project 2025, they're going to vote for Biden.
Well, it is also interesting.
So in the next 2 weeks,
right.
Watch those polls turn around.
I agree with you, Karen, and I think that's an important to note. And Donald Trump is lying once again, saying he doesn't know anything about Project 2025 when literally the people that are right behind it are the ones that are advisors that are standing right next to him. You can't make this stuff up. So, yes, I think Project 2025 is a very important point to bring up. It's dangerous. It's evil. And when Donald Trump says he doesn't know anything about it, again, he's lying, just like he lies about the 2020 election and just like he lied constantly on a debate stage over and over and over again a few weeks ago. So I am with you 150% on that, and I appreciate your call, Karen. Thank you. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Mark. Mark is next up on PTL. Hi, Mark.
Hello, Brian, calling from Pennsylvania.
All right.
I was watching the MSNBC for most of the day, and I noticed that 90% of the time they were talking about Biden, how old he is, how old he looks, everything about Biden, not one thing about Trump, until Michael Steele was up on panel on MSNBC. Mm-hmm. You know who Michael Steele is,
right? Of course I do. He's a great man. I respect him a great deal.
Well, for the people out there who don't know who he is, he was the Republican National Chairman.
Correct.
Who disavowed the Republican Party.
Correct.
When Trump went into power.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael Steele was the only one to call out MSNBC, CNN, and all the mainstream media about talking about Biden, talking about how old, talking about how he looks so fragile, and stated, you know what? Let's get behind the guy because he's not going anywhere. And if he's going to lose this, it's going to be because of all the Democrats talking about how they want to eat their own, just like the Republicans are talking about eating their own all the time.
Right.
And I tend to agree 100%. He's not going nowhere. And if you heard Biden talking today over the phone,
yeah, I did.
He called out these Democrats.
Yes, he did.
And told them, you want to come after me?
Okay, but Mark,
get me at the convention and let's have it on.
Mark, I'm with you. I liked the call in today to Scarborough, but here again, if that's the case, which I think you're probably right, I think Joe Biden's probably going to be the guy and they're not going to replace him, then why is the campaign not allowing him to hold a press conference and answering questions?
He will.
Well, then why hasn't he? Isn't the time now? What are they waiting for? What are they waiting for?
First of all, Gretchen got it wrong, all right? It's not 5 months away. The election is 4 months away.
Correct.
So where's her thinking and thought? And she's so much younger.
Yes. But again, Mark.
He's going to go around the country. He's going to be out there campaigning.
I know, but
and
Mark.
If you see the old Joe again, everything that we're talking about now is history.
Mark, that's important what you're saying. I do want him to campaign and go across the country and speak to the voters. I'm with you. But it's one thing to read a teleprompter. It's another thing to get up there, prove to the American people that you can ad-lib and answer questions from the opposition. He needs to hold a press conference today. He needed to hold a press conference yesterday. He had an opportunity after that ridiculous Supreme Court ruling, and they put him out there for 4 minutes, and then he left. Now, I'm not blaming Joe Biden for that.
Brian?
Yeah.
Brian, one more thing, Brian.
Yeah.
One more thing. If the American public wants to hold that 190-minute debate and him having a cold and him being run down from flying all over the world, if they want to hold that against him and vote for Trump, who's a maniac, a liar, and a Project 2025 enthusiast who wants to destroy the government, then we deserve everything we get.
I don't disagree with you. I'm willing to put the debate in the past, but I'm looking forward now, and the campaign is making mistakes. That's all I'm saying. I'm willing to put that debate to bed. I think they need another debate. But again, I'm looking at the way they've handled it with Joe Biden since the debate, and I will give them a C-. I'm glad he called into Joe Scarborough today. He showed conviction. We need more of that, Joe Biden. 702-221-7283. Thank you for the call, by the way, Mark. Let's go to Jason. Jason is next up on PTL. Hi, Jason. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Vegas, and how you doing?
Hey.
We talk a lot.
How you doing, Jason? What's on your mind today?
Okay, so I'm going to try to be as calm as possible. Now, I would love to vote for Joe Biden, but that debate really, really kind of put something in my craw because it almost reminded me of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Mm-hmm. You're old. I understand you're standing on principle and you're thinking, but Biden said before he ran, he's only going to go one term.
Right.
And he already went against that word.
Mm-hmm.
He's looking old and feeble. We have too much across the seas that we need to look strong. Mm-hmm. Neither Trump nor Biden look strong to the world. And so I am not happy. And most of all, this is the key part. The biggest generation right now is the young. Mm-hmm. And there's nobody that's young that even wants Trump or Biden. They don't go on the news. They don't go on MSNBC. They don't go on Fox News. They don't even go on ONA, ONN, whatever that's called. Yeah. They go on YouTube. They are in the internet.
You know, you're
so
right.
They only get snippets. And these
the
young
best
people,
thing,
they will.
So do you agree with me? I agree with everything you said, by the way. Do you agree with me that the best thing that a Joe Biden could do right now would be to destroy Sean Hannity and go on his show? The best thing Joe Biden could do right now would be to go on Newsmax and destroy the anchor. The best thing Joe Biden could do right now would be to go prime time with somebody or even have a sit down with Tucker Carlson. I don't know. I
got something better than that.
Yeah.
I got something better than that. Ready?
Yeah.
If Joe Biden had enough gumption to go sit down on Harris Faulkner's show, or when they have those girls sitting around and have him sit in the middle and deal with all of them, now that would be worth it.
Do you think he can do it? Do you think he's capable?
Trump going to The View.
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen. Do you think Joe Biden right now is capable of having a sit-down debate conversation with a Sean Hannity? Do you think he's capable?
No. You know why? Because come on, let's be honest. Everybody on Fox News don't even let you talk. Anytime you're going to make something a good point, they talk over you. They don't let you get your point out. And then they'll come with another question that try to make you look stupid. So, like I said, the only way is you go on early in the morning, you sit around those young ladies, because no matter what, he can be a little bit bragorious and come out a little bit masculine and say, let me speak. I understand you ladies are trying to run the Fox News program, but let me speak. I'm the president. And that'll go a long way. Yeah. But if you go on a Sean Hannity or one of them, all they're going to do is overtalk him and never let him get him out. And then make him seem feeble.
All right.
and old.
Okay, that might be true.
That morning show, he'll win.
Okay, that might be true. But I can tell you right now, I'd rather see him make an appearance, or even Kamala Harris. I think that'd be great. I would love to see Kamala Harris.
Me too.
Sit down
Me too.
across from Sean Hannity and destroy him. You know what? I'll say this about her.
Yeah.
She's extremely intelligent, and I think she's capable of doing that. I want
do
to
too.
see her go on the opposition. She's not doing that. She's in Las Vegas tomorrow. I think that's great. Don't think that's going to help the campaign. Go on a primetime show, and if you don't think Joe Biden can do it, and you might be right, then get our vice president to do it. They got to do something, because what they're doing right now is not working. It's not working.
Not working.
Yeah. Well,
and then remember, we got to reach the young. It's the young. It ain't us. We're almost out of here. And they're a big, huge chunk of the voting bloc now. They're the biggest voting bloc. All the people from 30 and under are the biggest voting bloc in America right now.
Oh, you're right, my friend.
So that's the part.
Great call, my friend. You're right, out of Vegas, and I appreciate you, and you make a lot of valid points there. I think we are on the same page, but we all come from the right place. We want to make sure that Cheeto Jesus doesn't get back into the White House. I want the best pathway to victory. I don't know, and I'm not sure right now on a Monday if a Joe Biden, Kamala Harris ticket is the best pathway. I'm just saying I don't know. I'm asking questions. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Alina. Alina is next up on PTL. Hi, Alina. Where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm Elena, yes, and I'm calling from Washington.
Yep.
Washington, the state, not D.C.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Thank you for taking my call, but
Sure.
I want to voice my opinion. I'm retired out of the Navy, and I'm a senior, and I've been around in this country, and I've seen the world. And I want to tell you right now, the Democrats are fools. They're eating their own. And the reason why, you're absolutely right. We can't afford to have Trump in office again. But we've got to stick together with Joe. Joe is our only hope. He had a bad night. Why people can't understand that, I don't get it.
No, but hold on. Let me stop you. Okay, let's go with that. Okay. Let me give you a little bit of pushback, and let me challenge you on this. I would agree with you. Let's assume that he just had a bad night. Let's assume that, okay? Why is it a couple days later he only does 4 minutes in front of the cameras when holding a press conference and doesn't take one question? Why is it that interview he did with George Stephanopoulos, he showed low conviction, his voice was low? Listen, if that's the case and it was just a bad night, okay, I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. Why is the campaign not putting him out there in front of the media?
I don't get it, because I agree that he should be out there more in front of the media, but he's out there in front of the public. I mean, he's been out every
But he's
day
not
before
challenged. Okay, I hear you. But there's a difference between being out in the public and reading a speech for 15 minutes and then being challenged by members of the media. There's a difference there.
To invite him, then to get out there. The media is part of the problem too. They're promoting this business about Joe being incapable.
I'm not promoting him. I can only speak for myself. I'm not promoting him being incapable. What I am doing is I am criticizing his campaign for not allowing him to answer questions at a press conference. I am criticizing the campaign for not allowing the vice president, who I believe she is capable of, going on prime time.
Everybody's in an uproar. We're all nervous. We're all upset. We're scared half to death. There is nobody else out there that is even willing to step in and carry the load.
Oh, I disagree. I disagree.
Who? Name them.
I believe.
Tell me who it is.
I will. I believe now, I don't think Kamala Harris would like this very much, and that's why they're not going to do it. You mean to tell me that you don't think if they approached Hillary Clinton, she wouldn't want another rematch with Donald Trump?
She won't.
Oh,
she
I
won't.
disagree.
They already have.
I disagree with you.
Baloney. Then you approach her, because she won't. Neither will Michelle Obama.
I would love to.
Those are two of the best candidates.
So I didn't mention.
You know what? You're wasting your time sitting here carrying along with this malarkey, because you're handing it to Trump on a silver platter.
What are you talking
about? They're united behind Trump.
What do you mean I'm handing it? What do you mean I'm handing it to? Okay, explain to me how.
Because you're sitting here questioning Biden. You should be set behind him, supporting him.
Okay, so you want me to lie to you? You want me to lie to you and say that he did a great job on a debate stage 2 weeks ago?
No,
okay, you're right. No, you're right. You're right.
You're lying right now.
You're right. What did I
lie
say
about
that's a lie?
anything.
What did I say that's a lie? Tell me. Let's be calm.
You're sitting there questioning.
Okay, so you can't. Okay, so you
You
can't.
won't even let anybody talk.
What What are you
Because
talking
you don't like
about?
what anybody has
What
to
are you
say.
What are you talking about? I've had you on for 5 minutes now. Name me something I said that's a
Yeah,
lie.
and you're the one who's been doing most of the talking. You won't let anybody say anything.
It's my radio show, you kook.
Well,
it's my
you
show.
know what?
You're
You
a
wanna
kook.
know
Get
what?
out. You know what? It's people like you where the right goes after people like you. You're a kook. Okay? Just because I can't go on the air and question the campaign, somehow I'm giving it to Donald Trump. You're a nut. You're a kook. That is why sometimes the right goes after people on the extreme left, because of people like you. I'm handing it to Donald Trump. You're a nut job. Holy smokes. I'm not allowed to question the other side. Listen, I don't do a left-wing echo chamber show any more than those right-wing echo chamber shows. I call it as I see it. And I'm sorry if you don't like the fact that I'm questioning Joe Biden's campaign, because I want the Democrats to win. But you are a kook. Go back on your medication. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Again, so I've never heard one person claim that I'm handing it to Donald Trump. What a stupid statement from a stupid woman. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Who are we going to next here? Let's go to Eileen. Hi, Eileen. Thanks for calling in. Where are you calling from?
It's actually Arlene, and I'm calling from Whittier. So let's all calm down, because we definitely, you need some more coffee, Brian. We definitely have a problem on our hands.
Well, guess what? Guess what? If the last caller would say that you're handing it to Donald Trump if you question anything involving the Democrats and anything involving Joe Biden. And let me tell you, if somebody thinks like that, then they're handing it to Donald Trump. We should be allowed to question anything at any time. Doesn't mean we're always going to be right. And that last caller was crazy. I'm sorry. She's just crazy.
She just went off. She went off.
Yeah.
We do have a problem. I actually made a comment on your site that Joe Biden had a senior moment that lasted 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So that, we can't have it. I don't know if he had a cold. I don't know if he was tired. My brother's 83, and I just want to say he's sharp as a pencil. He's not the president,
sure,
but he is sharp as a pencil. So I'm not sure what happened. But the thing is that we out here, we need to do our job. We can't allow people to say, oh, well, Trump, he did better. He's this, he's that. We need to start calling these people out. I don't think, I might be wrong, they're not going to go to the convention and try to get someone else.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Probably not.
It's not going to happen.
Probably not.
And the money that the Biden campaign, oh, I lost your voice.
No, I got you. Go ahead.
Okay. The Biden campaign cannot turn the money over to the new guy or whoever that might be.
Right.
That money. So now we start with zero money.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of people who are, quite capable of being the president, including, and of course, Kamala Harris. Of course, I'm from California. I know what she's done.
Sure, but what's frustrating to me, though, is that sometimes people do the same thing that the far right do, in that they want to be in their echo chamber and they don't want to face reality. The reality,
right.
And by the way, I'm not on a side per se. People say, well, you're attacking the same side. I'm on the side of democracy. And I'm on the side of doing everything that it takes to not let Donald Trump back in the White House, and I'll support any candidate on the other. Okay, so in that aspect, I guess you could say I'm on that side. But to entertain the fact, which I will not entertain, that I need to sit here and lie. And I need to sit here and say that the Joe Biden campaign, they're doing all the right things. And that Joe Biden had a great night a few weeks ago on that debate stage. And Joe Biden's going to win in a landslide. I am not willing to do that. I am going to sit here and speak my mind and be honest. If Joe Biden is the candidate, I'm supporting Joe Biden. But for somebody to, not you, but for somebody to call into the show and number one say I'm lying, which I've never lied on this show and I've never lied on the air in 20 years, is absurd. Saying that I'm lying because I'm criticizing the Joe Biden campaign for not maybe putting him out there more, not putting the vice president out there more, and somehow that makes me a liar, is an absurd statement to make. I want Donald Trump to never see the White House ever again more than anybody in this country. But I'm not going to sit here and be complicit and say that the Joe Biden campaign they're doing a great job. It's why he's behind in almost every single poll. And I don't want to see that. I want to see the Democrats succeed in this election. I want to see Joe Biden succeed. So the fact of the matter is, if there are people out there that don't want me to be honest with all of you and just want to hear me bash Trump 24/7 and everything is fine and dandy with the Democrats and everything is great with Joe Biden, then they're listening to the wrong show. Okay, I'll bash Donald Trump. I have no problem in doing that, but I'm not going to sit here and lie to all of you people and say that Joe Biden and his campaign can't be doing a better job, because I believe they can. That's all.
And I think, and I agree with you. I think that somehow they have lost their way. And I don't know who their chairman is, but, the chairman of the campaign. But we cannot, like today, of course, you heard it. Biden went on the AM, Joe show.
Right.
However, the thing is that he needed to say, "Oh, he's a liar." We already know he's a liar.
Correct.
He needed to say, "Do you know about the 2025 project?
Sure.
Do you know that they're trying to take over?" We just gave him immunity. I mean, those are the things he needs to interchange. If someone says, "Well, what do you think?" "Well, I think he's a liar." We already know he's a liar. What we need to do is be more forceful. Yeah. I'm trying to do my part. I mean, I'm not allowing people to say, "Oh, well, this guy did a good job." No, I don't care. He didn't do a good job. Million people in America died because of COVID. Mm-hmm. Because of people didn't know what they were doing and did not allow the right thing to happen.
Donald Trump's response to COVID was terrible, dear. I appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much. I take offense to it if somebody's going to call me a liar because they disagree with one of my opinions. God forbid we question why Joe Biden's campaign isn't putting him out there in front of the cameras more and holding a press conference. Oh, gosh, God forbid if I go on the air and I say, yeah, he's not the same guy he was a year ago. God forbid. I mean, you're going to be complicit like that, then we're going to have the same result we had in 2016, and it's not a result that I want, and it's not a result that you want. I think Joe Biden's campaign can do a better job in putting him out there. Joe Biden's, this isn't about policy, right? I would vote for a ham sandwich over Donald Trump. Okay? 702-221. 7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Vivian. Vivian is next up on PTL. What's up, Vivian?
Hi, Brian. How you doing today?
Good. What's on your mind?
Okay, I'm with you. I'm voting for Biden no matter what. It doesn't make a difference. Trump is just bad for this country. There's no way. And this is the part that I can't understand why people don't get it. But if they don't get it, that's on them. I think that Biden should start toting his administration and having the people go out there and tell what they did and take those Republicans who voted against everything they have now in their states and everything, and let the public really know in those states, you got this, but this senator said no. You got this because that representative said, everybody said no to this, but I still persisted to try and get this for you.
Yeah. I just, I get very frustrated in general when people accuse me of lying because they disagree with an opinion. Now, if some people out there that are Joe Biden supporters think that the last couple weeks his campaign has done a great job, then fine, you're entitled to your opinion. I respectfully disagree with you, but that doesn't make me a liar. And for anybody out there with a brain to say that somehow I'm helping Donald Trump is probably the dumbest statement I've ever heard from a Democrat in my life. Anybody who knows me and anybody who listens to this show on a regular basis, and I'm very grateful there's a lot of you out there that do, knows that the last person I would ever support or vote for is Donald Trump. And questioning the Joe Biden campaign and some things that I would do differently is not helping Donald Trump. And you know what? There's people out there that don't want to hear the truth. There are Democrats out there. And go ahead.
It's like, okay, we're a family and we're trying to protect our family
Sure.
against the enemy. So that we are closing ranks, but we have these people who are outside the ranks and they're causing issues because they're not helping matters. That's what it is.
No.
At least give forth a solution to what you think should happen instead of telling him step down. He can't step down anyway because Simone said he has to wait to the convention to do anything because he's holding those votes. And if he just stepped down now, those votes can go anywhere for the electoral things that they can go anywhere to anybody.
Right.
So instead of causing havoc, he holds on to them until the convention, and then he can make a decision what to do.
I agree.
And then he can direct, I wanted to go to this person, or I wanted to go that way. Otherwise, it'll go all over the place, and it'll be
you're right.
crazy.
You're right. I mean, we're on the same page, and I appreciate your phone call. Yeah, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Donald Trump is a threat to our democracy. I take that very seriously. I want to make sure everything is done correctly to make sure that Donald Trump doesn't win. I think some mistakes are being made. I heard the same complacency in 2016 where people thought that Hillary was running a great campaign, and look what happened. I don't want history to repeat itself. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to vote for Joe Biden no matter what. All I'm simply saying is that mistakes are being made. That's all I'm saying. 702-221-7287. 702-221. Did I give out? I just gave out the wrong number. 702-221-SAVE is the number to call. I just gave out the wrong number. 221-7283. All right, who are we going to next here? Let's go to Pam. Hi, Pam. Thanks for calling in, Pam. What's on your mind?
Hi, Pam from Indiana.
Hi, Pam.
I left Indiana, lived 40-plus years in California, retired after COVID. It's time. It's time for me to step down, let someone younger do my job.
Yeah, but so there's Democrats that have been calling in that would call you a traitor. They would call you a liar, and you want what I want.
This is my home state.
Right.
I'm not totally. I am not I'm Democrat, obviously.
Sure.
I'm in the middle of a very red state, and they have flags flying everywhere. I will do everything in my power to keep Trump from taking office again.
Sure.
But let's be realistic. Joe did an amazing job. He did what we needed him to do, which was defeat Donald Trump.
Sure.
We need him to maybe enjoy retirement. Maybe it's time for him to step back. He made a comment on the interview the other night with George Stephanopoulos where he said, "Oh, I'm the only one that can do it."
Right.
No, Joe, you think you're the only one.
There are
you
others.
Aren't giving any.
So hear me out on this.
Time to just step back, maybe, and
perhaps,
while we still have time.
Perhaps. I'm not even going to go that far, but I understand why you say what you say. I understand where you're coming from. I'm not even going that far. But what I am saying is, if in fact he's going to stay in, the campaign needs to do a better job. They need to do a better job.
Absolutely.
Okay. They need to
Absolutely.
That's questioning the campaign. I'm not even saying right now that Joe Biden needs to step down, but I understand why some people feel that way. All I'm simply saying is the campaign needs to do a better job. Put the vice president out there more, put her on prime time, get Joe Biden out there more, hold a press conference where he can answer questions. That's all I'm saying, because we all come from the same cloth of, for the most part, we just want to make sure Donald Trump doesn't get back in office. And that doesn't make you a liar.
Exactly.
It doesn't make me a liar. It doesn't make you a liar. And it doesn't mean that we're handing it to Donald Trump. That is an absurd way of thinking. And if some people on the far left are going to think that way, then it's going to hurt the Democrat Party.
I am 100%. I will back Joe till my dying day.
As will I.
I have children.
Yes.
I have grandchildren. But we still have time. If Joe doesn't have but 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
So he has to, these decisions have to be made quick. People will come to the rally if he decides to step down. They're gonna rally. If he insists on staying in it, we're going to rally behind him.
Amen. I'm with you.
But right now,
I'm with you 150%, and I appreciate your phone call out there in Indiana. And even though we might have different opinions on the pathway to defeat Donald Trump, we both want the same thing. And calling somebody a liar because you might have a difference of opinion on how Joe Biden's campaign has been operating the last couple weeks is absurd. 702-221-7283. Thank you for the call, dear. I appreciate you. Let's go to Brian. Hi, Brian. Thanks for calling in. Great name, by the way. Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. Brian from Nashville.
Nashville. Thanks for calling in, my man. What's on your mind?
Hey, I didn't catch all your show, but I actually wanted to get your opinion on something. So we agree that maybe Biden's campaign isn't being forceful enough or getting the right angle out to get the message out.
Mm-hmm.
But the one of the things that he does in his message that I don't agree with is he talks about if Trump was elected, he would wield all this power
right.
and immunity and things of that nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Joe has that now.
Right. That's true.
So what's your opinion if he was to start testing and wielding that power himself? Like, say, since a convicted felon can't run for president on an executive order because they can't have access to classified documents because they can't get a clearance.
You know why, Joe? It's an interesting point you bring up, but Joe Biden's going to do it. You know why? Because he's got a moral compass. He's not going to do it. I understand where you're coming from. You could test the waters, but Joe Biden's just not that guy. He's a decent man. He's got moral character, something the opposite of Donald Trump. I hear what you're saying. You could use it against Trump, but Joe Biden's not going to do that because he's a decent man.
I get that. He's an institutionalist and all that. And I don't, maybe he doesn't need to go as far as that. And I know he's not going to use his power to expand the court to, get a different position from there.
Yeah.
But saying that the other guy's going to do it and you actually have the power to do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I would feel very confident or very happy if he was just to throw one curveball.
No, I get that. Like, if you want to implode Mar-a-Lago, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But let's be honest, it's not going to happen. Joe Biden is a decent man. He's a man of character. He's a man of principle. He's a good man. And he's just getting old. Let's just be honest. Is he capable of doing this for another 4 years? I hope so. But again, I go back to what I said earlier. If he's the guy, and it certainly appears that way, that they're not going to replace him, if he's the guy, then the campaign needs to do a better job. Get our vice president out there more, and I'm not talking about holding rallies. I'm talking about prime time on the networks. She needs to do more interviews. Joe Biden, I'm glad he called into Joe Scarborough, but it's not enough. In the next week, he has to hold a press conference, do 30 minutes, and answer questions. He needs to do that. They need to do cleanup, and I don't think they've done a good job of it. And again, going back to what Adam Schiff said, and by the way, thank you so much for the phone call, my man. I appreciate you out there. I believe you said you were calling from Nashville. He needs to be in front of the cameras. He needs to be holding press conferences. And the bottom line is he needs a do-over with that debate. But it has to start. We need to hear the same Joe Biden we heard this morning on Joe Scarborough. We need to hear the same Joe Biden we heard in the State of the Union. I would hope he's capable of doing that. At times he struggles when he's not scripted. And I'm not talking about answering questions when he lands on the tarmac for 3 or 4 minutes. That's not what I'm talking about. I know he's done that a few times. I'm talking about in the White House, in the media press room, 30 minutes, answer questions from everybody. I think he's probably capable of doing that if he's rested. So why aren't they doing it? It's a criticism that I have for the Biden campaign because most of us in this country do not want to see Donald Trump back in office. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Orek. Orek is next up on PTL. Hi, Orek. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, hi. I'm coming from Florida. So I'm a Biden voter, and I think he's a decent, good guy.
Sure.
I love him, but there are some questions. I mean, have you seen the ABC interview? Biden is in denial about his health. He's in denial about polls, and he's in denial about his popularity.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. And so, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if he's making that this year, in 2020 he won. I mean, clearly.
Right.
And he's a good guy, but I have my concerns. I really have my concerns.
As do Orek. Orek, as do I. And it seems like we're in the majority of people that will vote for Joe Biden that are anti-Donald Trump. Once in a while, you get somebody that'll call into this show that'll attack me because I have some criticisms of the Biden camp. And as if you can't question anybody. Don't do what the far right does. When anybody questions Donald Trump, they're ostracized from the Republican Party. We need to be better than that. We should have the right to question Joe Biden. Listen, if I went on the air today and I said Joe Biden's got Alzheimer's, he's in the bunker, he needs to step down, he's going to pass away, he can't even walk, then people would have the right to call into this show and call me names. But I wouldn't do that because I have too much respect for Joe Biden, and I would never make those statements. All I'm simply doing is saying if Joe Biden is the guy, and it certainly appears that that's what the Democrat Party, that's what they're going to do. They're going to stay the course. Then the campaign needs to do a better job. Put him out there in better situations where he can answer questions and he can be more forceful. I mean, I think that's a very healthy thing to ask for, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong. I mean, you're absolutely right. I just 100%, 1,000% agree with you. But here's the thing. All this liberal media like MSNBC, CNN or so, they are just now pulling that against Biden, like Fox is doing that, and that helps the Republicans. I mean, why are they doing that?
Be specific. Help me out.
When you switch on CNN.
Well, be specific.
Yeah.
What has specifically MSNBC done that you don't like? Like, give me an example.
They are questioning Biden about this. And,
about what? About his health? Or what do you mean?
Yeah, his health and everything. They are stepping into the Fox, programming.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Do you think Joe Biden, health-wise, is the same guy today as he was a year ago?
No.
Okay, so we probably agree on that. So wouldn't that be questioning his health then? Isn't that fair? You admitted it yourself. He's probably not the same guy he was a year ago. I think it's fair to question that. Does it mean he's not competent for the job? I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is he's not the same guy he was a year ago. I think it's fair to question it, no?
Yeah, but listen to the media. I mean, just switch on CNN. I mean, every time they are talking about the Democrats wants to step him down, some of them.
Well, guess what? That would all go away if the campaign did a better job of putting Joe Biden out there in front of the cameras, answering questions from the media. I blame Joe Biden's campaign for that. The longer they wait for him to hold a press conference, the more that this is going to build up and happen. The more that the vice president, and I'm not talking about a 5-minute interview on CNN during the day, our vice president needs to be in prime time. And I'm not talking about CNN. Put her face-to-face with Sean Hannity. Put her face-to-face with these Newsmax idiots and destroy them. She's a very capable, intelligent woman. People can say what they want about her. She can hold her own. Put her on with Sean Hannity for an hour, and she would destroy him with facts. Why is it that it's always Gavin Newsom that has to do it? Why is it that Gavin Newsom has to show up and debate Sean Hannity? Why can't our vice president do it?
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
I appreciate you, my man. Thank you for the call. Say hello to Ron DeSantis and his white boots for me out there in Florida. Very manly. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Roy. Roy is next up on PTL. What's going on, Roy?
Hi, Brian. How you doing?
Hey, good, man. What's on your mind?
All right, what's on my mind? A couple of things. One, I think that you're right. They need to put him in a press conference, and they need to do it soon. And basically, if he does a good job, let's all move forward with him. If he does a poor job, let's replace him. But I think it needs to be done quickly, and then a decision made based on how he performs.
Right.
Fair. If he does the job right, move forward. If he doesn't do it right, let's find somebody else who will.
Correct. I don't know why people are so upset at me. I don't know what I've said that's so out of line. I mean, 9 out of 10 people are like you. They're agreeing with most of what I say, and I don't mind people that disagree with me. But why would you be upset with me when I say the campaign needs to do a better job? I don't understand.
No, that's nonsensical foolishness.
Yeah.
The other thing, though, I think they really need to push what Project 2025 is. You know, a lot of people, it's not even about Biden versus Trump. It's Trump versus Trump.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are people who will not vote like you. You and I would vote for anybody, anything over Donald Trump, and a lot of the majority of Democrats feel the same way. But by pushing this, what Project 2025 is, let the younger people, the younger generation, realize how this is going to affect them,
right.
Whether it's climate change
sure.
or getting rid or privatizing or getting rid of Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid.
So, Roy.
Abortion.
Roy,
These
I'm with
are all
you.
things that will affect them.
So, let Joe Biden's surrogates push that home and knock it home. I have no problem with that. But if Joe Biden is
done.
I agree. But if Joe Biden is going to be in front of the cameras, show people that you're capable and you're competent. I like the call he did with Joe Scarborough earlier today. Do that on camera at a press conference. I'm with you, Roy, and I appreciate the phone call, my friend.
One more thing, Brian. Your caller from Nashville, the other Brian.
Yeah.
He's 100% right because Trump would do this in a heartbeat. Sure. I think that he should absolutely say he cannot join the military. He should not be able to be the commander-in-chief.
I agree.
I think an executive order that says he cannot run for president, you know what? The Supreme Court, you guys did this to him.
Mm-hmm.
Show the country that this is bullshit.
I'm not.
And that's what he should do.
I don't disagree with you. We're on the same page. 9 out of 10 people that are listening to the show, 9 out of 10 people that are calling into the show understand where I'm coming from. We can't let Donald Trump get back in the White House. If Joe Biden is the guy, and it certainly appears that that's what the Democrats are going to do, they're going to keep him in there and stay the course, fine. I'm going to support him, but the campaign needs to do a better job. Put him in prime time, put Kamala Harris in prime time. If you're worried and you're afraid to put Joe Biden in front of the cameras to hold a press conference for 30 minutes, then he probably shouldn't be the guy. I'm not saying he can't. I'm blaming the campaign right now. Take one more call, then we're going to go to break, and then we're going to take more phone calls on the other side. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Judy. Judy is next up on PTL. Hi, Judy. Where are you calling from?
I'm also calling from Nashville.
All right. I love it that people out there are listening to Nashville. Judy, what's on your mind today?
I'm someone like a previous caller who thinks that what the media is doing, CNN, but also a lot of print media, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the New Yorker, the Atlantic, what they've been doing is really destructive for the last 2 weeks. They have been demanding that Biden step down. Every day they run pieces saying that Biden's mind is gone. And I don't really think they have a plan B. I don't know that Kamala Harris could. I mean, I just think it's really destructive. Mm-hmm. And you say in 2016, Hillary ran a bad campaign.
She did.
They beat her up that whole year. And when Comey and frankly, the Bernie people pushed lies about her, they didn't expose it. The New York Times didn't expose it. That, you know, she got nearly 4 million more votes in the primaries. The Bernie people said she stole the nomination.
Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you about that, because let's dissect what you said there. There's a lot of things there. Let's start with what you said about Hillary. When I criticize the Hillary campaign, I think even she would agree she should have gone to some of the states that she didn't go to. I don't think she ran a great campaign. They should have gone to the states where they assumed they were going to win, and they didn't. Now, Comey didn't help her. I will give you, I agree with you on that. That was terrible what Comey did, and that could have changed the outcome of the election. I'm with you on that. But even Hillary and some of her advisors back then would agree. They could have done things differently, and they made mistakes. All I'm simply saying is I don't want to see the same thing happen here. Now, all I can speak for is myself, and you could tell me what you disagree with what I've said today. Now, listen, demanding that he step down, I've never said that. I don't think you accused me of doing that. And you're right. Some of the media entities are doing that, and I don't necessarily agree with them. Saying he's got Alzheimer's or he's, whatever, I'm not saying that either because I'm not a doctor. So what have I said? Because I want to get your opinion. Is there anything that I've said that you disagree with? Because I can only speak for myself.
I don't agree with you and a previous caller that he's really lost the step since last year. He's a little more physically frail. He's had to change his shoes. They're really upset about his orthopedic shoes. He doesn't speak well publicly. He's never spoken well publicly. When he was vice president, he made gaffes. When they chose him as the unity candidate in 2020, I thought, Joe Biden, what if he says something weird at a debate or a town hall? I thought he was a smart, good man and a poor public speaker. And I think if they're reluctant to put him out there again and again, it's not because his mind is gone. It's because the gaffes he's been making his whole life will suddenly be read in a different way, and people say, oh, he has dementia.
Maybe you're misinterpreting what I've said. When I say he's not the same guy he was a year ago, I've never said that his mind is gone. You even just admitted it yourself, and that's the point I'm trying to make. He's a little bit more physically frail than he was a year ago. You're right. He's not a great public speaker. He has a stuttering problem. That's not his fault. I understand that. When I say he's not the same guy he was a year ago, I'm not saying that he's not necessarily up for the job for another 4 years. I'm saying what I said. He's not the same guy he was a year ago. I thought he did a great job, the State of the Union address. It was a 180. I think his mood or how his conviction is far more inconsistent now than it was a year ago. I thought he did a good job on Morning Joe this morning. I thought his interview with George Stephanopoulos was not very good. The debate, not very good. He's got more inconsistencies now. So does that make sense, or do we still disagree?
Well, I disagree with that a little bit. I think he had a rotten debate. He says he had a rotten cold. You know, Hillary collapsed on September 11th in 2016, and it looked awful. Oh, my God, the Democratic candidate collapsed. But she had pneumonia, and she got dehydrated, and it really wasn't anything.
Most people would agree that Hillary Clinton destroyed Donald Trump in all of those debates. There's not
right,
one.
But she didn't win anyway. But the point is, I think that Joe Biden had a rotten cold. I've had rotten colds where I felt woozy. I think it was just an aberration, like her collapsing on September 11th.
So if that's
by
the
end
case,
of the debate, he won. It was
fair
like
enough.
his debates in 2020.
Fair enough. So let's just say that's the case. If that is the case, and it was just a bad night, and he had a cold, which I'm willing to agree with you on, then why is it a couple days later, when he was feeling much better, when he was sounding much better, he did a 4-minute press conference when it was a wiffle ball about the Supreme Court, and he didn't answer any questions? Why didn't they allow him to answer questions?
On that occasion, I think it was so stark, and his statement, I dissent, they wanted to make a dramatic statement. But he's been making speeches every day. He's going to hold a press conference after the NATO thing. He did call into Morning Joe and do great. I think that Stephanopoulos sounded like an idiot, but I thought the president sounded smart and in command of facts, and he tried to turn it into a substantive discussion. I mean, how do you answer questions when you're talking about your achievements? And he's saying, oh, but what did it cost you to do all that? What, to do a good job and be a hardworking person at a job you love? I mean, Stephanopoulos is lucky, the president didn't smack him. I think he showed restraint. I think that he talked about a lot of issues. He said, Madeleine Albright said, we're the one indispensable nation. Donald Trump is like Herbert Hoover in the number of jobs he lost. He talked about a wide variety of things and showed he had a good mind. So I think he's doing things every day, and he's giving a good speech every day. They're not getting covered.
They are getting covered, but I will say that there is a fine line difference between reading a speech and going ad lib. I agree with you that I thought he did a good job this morning on Joe Scarborough. I also think that he needs to do more of that. But when you have the type of debate performance that he had, no matter what the reason being behind it, even he admits he had a bad night, then he needed to get out there in front of the cameras and answer questions. And I think his campaign has done a poor job.
Arguably, he's a man who has made gaffes his whole life, not just stuttered, though that's part of it, because he's like George VI in the King's Speech. The reason he does better with a speech he can prepare is he puts in rest.
I don't think
literally like King George VI.
Okay,
but he transposes words. He stumbles over words. He has his whole life.
I'm not criticizing him for that. I'm not criticizing him for gaffes. I'm criticizing him for lack of conviction. I'm criticizing the campaign. And my last question to you would be, if that's the case and everything you're saying is true, then why is he trailing, and why is he even trailing more now in basically every single poll out there? Why?
The debate was bad, and the media are doing nothing but beating him up like Hillary. They are out to get him like Hillary. And I'm not sure when we talk to him as if he's a child and sort of patronize him and teach him lessons like Hillary, I think that whole tone is a strange and dangerous one to take.
I understand. I understand your point of view. I just think it's very dangerous to only blame the media for why Joe Biden is trailing. I would say that's a part of it, but I would say another part of it is the campaign, not putting him out there and doing a good job with damage control, not seeing the vice president out there in prime time, not seeing Joe Biden answer questions in a 20 or 30-minute press conference. So while you could say that part of it is the media, I would disagree with you if that's the only reason. I think that there are people out there, regardless of what the media says, that have questions. There are moderate Republicans out there that will not vote for Donald Trump that have questions about Joe Biden's stamina. Can he do this for another 4 years? And Joe Biden did not prove that on the debate stage. Now he has 4 months to prove it, and it's got to start now. And I don't think he did that in the George Stephanopoulos interview. I think he did a good job this morning. But we'll have to, listen, I just think moving forward, we want the best pathway. We both want the same thing. We don't want Donald Trump to be back in the White House. And all I'm simply saying is I think it's a healthy criticism to criticize the campaign, because I think both Joe Biden and our vice president need to be out there more answering questions. Maybe some members of the media that are not very friendly to them, be out there and do it. It shouldn't be Gavin Newsom doing it. It should be Joe Biden and our vice president.
I do agree, but neither of them speak as well as Gavin Newsom. Neither of them has the gift of gab. They're mediocre public speakers and debaters. They're terrific public servants, both of them.
All right. I don't necessarily disagree with you. Good phone call. I understand where you're coming from. Unfortunately, sometimes when you need to win an election, you need to be a good speaker. We're going to take a quick break. A number to call, 702-221-7283. I went a little long that segment. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be taking a few more phone calls. And we have some people on hold. Joseph, Cava, Beverly. I promise I'll get to you when we come back. Be back right after this. It's PTL.
Tired of the same old date night? Craving a deeper connection with your partner? O-Box is your escape into a world of romance and passion. Each month, discover a box filled with personalized surprises, exciting activities, and a love story written just for the two of you. Ignite desire, share laughter, and make memories that last a lifetime. Your O-Box journey culminates into a beautiful love novel. Ready to write the first thrilling chapter? Let the O-Box adventure begin. Visit our website, obox.com. That's OBOXXX.com and get started.
Hello, I'm Ron Quince, and I'm running for Congress as a nonpartisan candidate in District 1. I'm dedicated to serving our entire community. In this challenging time, it's more important than ever to have leaders who focus on unity and progress. I believe in putting people over politics and finding practical solutions that benefit us all. Never stop believing in America, no matter our troubles and turmoil. We can and we will do better. We must be brave. Stop voting for those politicians who care about their career and gaining power but don't improve our lives. I believe in America and I believe in you. You need a candidate who believes in policy over party because you deserve better. In Nevada, every voice matters. I humbly ask for your vote this coming election, November 5th. To learn how we can create a better America, please visit quincefornevada.com. Paid for by Ron Quince for Congress.
All right, welcome back. It's Pushing the Limits on a Monday. I appreciate all the phone calls. We'll take some more coming up. I certainly don't have to beg for phone calls like some show hosts do in this town, but I appreciate all of you for calling in. Unfortunately, a lot of you are getting the busy lines because our phones have been clogged for the last hour and a half. Try to take as many as I can. Also, I would like to thank our sponsors, including Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. Show your TAM card. You get $50 in free slot play every Tuesday this month. Jackson's Bar and Grill. Great food, great atmosphere. Brian Slipbuck and the gang will take care of you. Jackson's Bar and Grill, tell them I sent you. Quick programming note for you. Boy, is this going to be interesting tomorrow. So there's this Save America conference with a bunch of right-wing kooks. Not all of them are crazy people. In fact, some of them I consider friends, but there are some right-wing kooks. So I put up a comment, and I made that statement, and then one of the organizers said, hey, we want to get the keynote speaker to come on, and you guys could have a nice conversation, debate. Guy by the name of Tom Rentz, who is a right-wing attorney who is the keynote speaker, is going to be joining me in studio tomorrow. Staunch Donald Trump supporter. So I give them credit. They're willing to go toe-to-toe, and Tom Rentz will be joining us in studio tomorrow. So that's going to be very, very interesting. Number to call, 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283. Phone lines are busy right now. Let's go to Beverly. Beverly next up on PTL. Hi, Beverly. Where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm calling from Mississippi. How are you?
I'm doing good, Beverly. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
I was calling because I agree with a lot of the things that you and a lot of the callers have said. But I also want to make this point. I believe when the debate was taking place that President Biden did not want to say in advance that he was not feeling well, because that would have been something that Trump could have used and said, see, I told you he wasn't going to be able to participate. So I think he went on the stage to do his very best.
Sure, I believe
One of
that.
the things that I saw that Donald Trump did was he would evade the question that was asked of him. So I believe in his answering, it may have thrown President Biden off a little bit, and he wanted to go back and counter answer what Trump had said.
I don't disagree with you, but Donald Trump did the same thing to Joe Biden 4 years ago, and I felt like Joe Biden handled it much better.
I understand that, and I agree with it as well. But I do believe that the Democratic Party and his campaign should bring to the front issues that Donald Trump has avoided or lied about. Because what needs to be said is that during Donald Trump's presidency, over hundreds of thousands of people died.
Yes.
That has not been brought up due to COVID.
You're right.
No matter what people think, Social Security for elderly and disabled is a big issue.
I agree.
Donald Trump wants to cut it, and if he can cut Social Security and give the 1% tax breaks, it's not fair.
Yeah.
He needs to be held accountable for a lot of things that he has done. President Biden needs to bring that to the forefront to remind people of what is at stake.
Okay, so I agree.
Our democracy is at stake.
I agree, and I think that's very, very well said. And I will also add one other caveat to what you just said. He needs to do all that with conviction. If you do it in a low, monotone voice like this and you stumble over your words, it's not as effective. He needs to do it with conviction, my dear, and I appreciate your phone call, and I think you're absolutely right. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Armando, who's next up on PTL. Hi, Armando. What's going on, man?
Look, here's this. If Trump decides not to debate Biden in, 90 minutes, right? Hour and a half. That's, in my opinion, that's going to be a plus for Joe Biden.
How so? Yeah. How so?
Well, because Joe Biden cannot stand there an hour and a half and debate.
So you don't believe? Okay, so that's interesting. So you don't believe that Joe Biden is capable with?
I don't. Like you said immediately, he's a frail and all that.
Well, here's what I would say.
An hour and a half.
Here's what I would say. It'd be the best thing for Joe Biden if he was capable, and I don't know the answer to that question. But if he was able to stand there for 90 minutes and do a better job, then it would certainly help him a lot. I'm not sure it could be any worse than it was a couple weeks ago.
Well, like a racehorse can't, run, the mile and a quarter.
So you're not buying the idea that he was sick, he wasn't feeling well, and he was tired. You're not buying that?
Yeah, he had jet lag and all that kind of thing. No, I personally don't, because he had a week at Camp David after that.
Well, here's the thing, right? And you're entitled to your opinion on that.
I know. Yeah,
I don't know.
My opinion.
I know, and I respect that. I just don't know. Here's what I do.
Know, but look, here's a break point. But to make a break, it'll be between the vice president candidate, Kamala Harris, and whomever Trump chooses to put. His
so you don't think they're going to keep Joe Biden out there? Then is that what you're saying?
They don't want to keep him out.
Yeah.
And then, if she wins convincingly, then I think Joe Biden has a 50% chance of winning.
Well, I think as Adam Schiff said it best, and by the way, I do appreciate your phone call. Adam Schiff said it best, which is the race shouldn't be this close. Democrats should be thumping Donald Trump. He's a 34-count felon. They should be thumping Donald Trump. They should be wiping the floor clean, as he said. Why? Why is Joe Biden not wiping the floor clean? Democrats need to figure that out. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Pat. Pat is next. Hi, Pat.
Hey, Brian. How are you?
Hey, good. What's on your mind today?
I'm calling from Idaho, believe it or not.
Nice.
One of the reddest states out there. And I'm absolutely blue. So I would agree with you that Biden's campaign is mishandling the whole process. I also want to say that I think the DNC and the DCCC are not doing their jobs either.
Yeah.
My biggest concern that I have, and we all know he's 81,
Yep.
but even Trump, at his age, could not do what Biden has done in the complex world that Biden's managing. I mean, it's amazing. In fact, I don't think there's anyone that's 40 years old that could do it.
I agree with. I agree with what you just said, and I think most like-minded people understand that. But unfortunately, that doesn't change the topic of conversation, which is Joe Biden and his health.
I think he's more suited for fireside chats. I think they need to find the method that Biden is very comfortable with.
I don't disagree.
He can sit and talk.
I don't disagree with you. I don't blame Joe Biden for that. I blame his campaign. That's where my criticism is.
His campaign sucks.
Yeah, thank you. I agree. I agree 100%. And listen, Joe Biden's a good man.
Oh, absolutely.
But they need to put him out there in spots where he's most comfortable. Listen, if it's not a debate stage anymore, then so be it. But you got to put him out there in front of the cameras, whether he's comfortable with it or not. And he has to hold a press conference. And I'm with you, my dear. And a really good call. And I appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much. Running out of time here, so I'm going to try to get to as many people as I can. Let's go to Al. Al is next up on PTL. What's up, Al?
Hey, Brian. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I'm going to say something in your support. It does not mean that I'm a Biden supporter or anything of that sort, but this is a shame. You have every right. We have the freedom of speech, our First Amendment. You have every right to criticize your candidate's campaign, the way your party is running the show. And this is an idiots that are calling you, whatever they're calling you, for speaking your mind and stating your grievances. This is ridiculous.
Well,
and that does not mean that I support Biden.
I
just don't support what people are doing.
I appreciate
because I know
that.
what you're going through. That's a bunch of crap.
I appreciate you saying that. Luckily, Al, it's a small minority of some of the callers, if you're listening to the show, and I appreciate your kind words, Al. The overwhelming majority agree with me, and it's okay to criticize the campaign. Who are we going to? Let's go to Joseph. Joseph, what's up, man?
Yeah, hey, Brian. All right, first, I understand that Joe Biden's not doing well, but I still voted for him. I'm still hoping he can get back on his feet to take down Trump. And speaking of Trump, I don't care. He says he didn't have nothing to do with Project 2025, but knowing him, he's going to do it behind closed doors, and he's going to say he ain't going to do nothing to stop it. Nothing's going to stop him.
Right.
And that's what upsets me the most.
Yeah, no, listen, well said, my friend. I'm up against a hard break here. The show's almost over, but I agree, Joseph. I agree. We're on the same page, my friend, and we both want the same. Let's end the show today with Kava calling in. What's up, Kava?
Hi, Brian. How are you doing today, friend?
Good. What's on your mind, man?
So I have a solution for all of these. So my solution here is let's go through all the channels of other nations. Let's get them involved. Let's find a solution that fits everybody. Let's bring them in, get fresh perspectives. Let's get some new ideas in that could help benefit everybody in the U.S. Yes, it might be a hard decision, but with new ideas, with a fresh perspective from all sides, we could possibly make a solution that would benefit both the Democrats and Republicans alike in various ways.
Well, that could be very possible, Kava. What I don't agree with is, well, we're all going to vote for Joe Biden, so that means we can't criticize his campaign or we can't criticize anything. Yes, we all need to come together and understand that Donald Trump is a threat to our democracy, right? We all need to come together and understand that we need to do whatever it takes, no matter who Donald Trump is facing. But it doesn't mean that we can't criticize the campaign a little bit and say, well, geez, I would do things a little bit differently. And I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to lie. I'm always going to speak my mind. I'm always going to be honest. Kamala Harris needs to be out there in prime time and do more interviews. Joe Biden needs to be able to go in front of the cameras and hold a press conference and answer questions for 30 minutes. I do believe he's capable of doing that. Do it. I ask all of you, please check out my website if you like what I do, and I would hope most of you do, and I appreciate all of your support. We are independently owned. This show is independently owned. What does that mean? Check out the website, pushingthelimits.live. Again, that website, pushingthelimits.live, where you can buy merchandise. If you don't want to buy merchandise, you could donate, support what I do. We appreciate all of you very much. Oh, boy, we're going to have fun on the show tomorrow. Right-wing attorney Tom Renz joining us in studio. It's going to be interesting. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great day.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, we're